Welcome back to HardTalk, episode 3. I just spent a little bit of time smelting all of our resources, and I got myself some new pickaxe, new sword. So hopefully now we are ready to get a bit deeper and get some full iron armor, hopefully. I finished last episode talking about, I was rambling a little bit. Almost forgot that hole was there. I need to get a bucket, actually. I want to make a bucket first. I was talking about support networks and opening out to people. And this is what they always say about people who struggle, is they usually struggle in silence. And that sometimes the hardest step is actually taking the first step and moving towards getting help. Actually can be the most difficult part for some people. And I found this a lot, like I mentioned before, when I was at uni, but I didn't really go into it much. So this episode I'm going to do a bit of a story time rather than a lot of hypothetical stuff that I've been doing so far. So during my first year at university, I had just come in the February. I'd found out that there was this girl that really liked me there was this girl that I really liked for a very long time. I'd put everything into liking her, and I'd invested all of my time. And I got to the point where I'd accepted that it was never going to happen, and that I was never going to be with this girl, and it wasn't going to work. She'd said no multiple times, and all of this stuff. And I finally came to accepting it. And then she tells me, right as we're finishing high school, right when she gets a new boyfriend, is that she'd always liked me, and that or she'd come to realizing that she liked me, and she wishes that I'd made more of an effort. Oh, this is very much not good. Okay, that's a witch. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to stand in the corner now. Okay, well, I haven't got blocks to hand, so I have to do that. Christ. That wasn't good. Anyway, so there was this girl that I'd liked for a really long time, and once she finally got a boyfriend, that wasn't me, funnily enough, she then tells me that she realised that she liked me, but it didn't matter anymore because she was with her new boyfriend, and that things were going well with them. And this ruined me. I became a very emotional, but I was a very hurt person. And I then ended up sabotaging my friendship with that girl because of how much did it hurt me to hear this. And so I then ended up sort of disconnecting myself from my friends and my friend group because she was one of my main friends at the time. And it left me quite in a vulnerable position. And this was back at the start of 2020, and then it had gone into lockdown. So she told me this about a month before lockdown. And then we then ended up not seeing each other for several months, and I'd sabotaged my friendship with them and lost quite a few friends that were closest to me in the process because of how bitter I was and how hurtful I'd become at this. So this then led into uni, which I started my uni in the September of that year, so September of 2020. And I then was a very frantic person. Like, I was always trying to make friends, trying to force situations, and I couldn't speak to girls at the time because of how the previous situation had been and how it left me feeling. And I ended up being not a particularly nice person to be around. But I hadn't realised that at the time. And I hadn't allowed myself to heal from the situation because I was really still frustrated by it. And this then caused like an outward effect into the other people that were around me. And I think a thing there is that I needed somebody to tell me that the way that I was feeling was valid, but I shouldn't project these feelings onto other people. Which I think I see a lot now. Now that I've sort of grown from it, it's easier to recognise, is that when people are upset about things, people are allowed to be upset, but they're not allowed to project their feelings onto other people and sabotage their friendships and make everybody else around them feel uncomfortable. And I think that takes a level of emotional maturity, which I didn't have back then. And now reflecting on it, I understand why people at uni in my first year, especially like my flatmates, I was trying to force situations, and I became very like clingy, and I became too attached too quickly to things. I became sort of an obsessive person, I guess, probably because I didn't want. I was struggling for friends, and I needed the support. But then again, it might have been just my way of trying to reach out to people and trying to... Oh, a mineshaft. Me trying to reach out to people, and I just didn't know how to go about it. So this is one thing that I always say, because my sister, she sometimes isn't a great judge of character. When people are they have a slight mood change or they start acting differently, I just say to her, just think about, is there something you've done to affect this person in this way that causes them to act in this way? And if the answer's no, then you have to think that actually there must be something else happening, like below the surface. Maybe they're feeling left out. Maybe they're feeling stressed with something. They've got other things going on. And this is what you always need to think about, is that, yes, I realised now that the way that I was acting with these people back at uni wasn't the way to act. But I almost needed somebody who could just sit and listen to me and realise that the way that I was acting wasn't like a normal person. Or not a normal person, but how I normally act. So yeah, I think this is it's a mob spawner down here. It's very nice. Hopefully I'll make use of this later on. So yeah, I find this a lot when like I talk to my cousins, for example, or people in a younger age than mine, is that they're very quick to sort of create an issue. If somebody's acting differently, then they automatically think it's something that they've done. When in actual fact, it might be that the person is struggling with something and is having a hard time opening up to that and sort of letting other people in and letting other people close. So yeah, just a little story time there. I haven't really been paying too much attention of what's been happening so far in this. So yeah, hopefully, I'll tell you what, I'll go until we find like a diamond or something, and then we find something good, and then that will be the end of today's episode. So please, if anybody feels that they can add any extra explanation or point of view or perspective on the video, please feel free to comment it down below. And always, I will be looking out for comments for potential new talking points in the next video. So if you have an issue or there's something that you want to talk about, or we can develop on this, please leave it in the comments below, and I will be sure to cover it in the next video. So yeah. I also realised that I did not think that was going to explode. I've also realised that this is going to take a long time if I do it in just 10-minute episodes. So maybe I decide to do some stuff off camera and progress a little bit. Oh, and look at that. A diamond. That is beautiful. Make sure that I'm not going to get blown up here. Okay. And just one? Yeah, just one. Okay. That's unfortunate, but a diamond is a diamond at the end of the day. So, yeah. So anyway, thank you very much for watching episode 3. I hope that you got some information or some insight from this video. But yeah, if you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, of course, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next episode for episode 4.